this video, I'm going to cover 3 beautiful coins, as you can see here. Now, the first coin that I would love to cover today is a Greece 100 drachma. Apologize for the dirty fingernails. Anyways, now Greece 100 drachma, this is a 1990 coin. This coin I'm covering is the Greece 100 drachma. Now, this coin came from the period, the Third Hellenic Republic. It was 1974 to date. It is a standard circulation coin from the years of 1990 to 2000. The coin has a mintage of 949,000. Now, on the adverse of this coin is the portrait of Alexander the Great, facing right, surrounded with the legend words translated to Alexander the Great, King of the Macedons. Now, on the reverse here is the 16-pointed star, the symbol of Macedonia, surrounded with the value and the country name and lettering, which translates to Greek Republic, 1990, Virginia 100 drachmas. The composition of this coin is aluminum bronze. It has a weight of 10.0 grams, a diameter of 29.3 millimeters, and a thickness of 2.2 millimeters. Its shape is round. Its edges are alternatively smooth and reeded. Six reeded segments with 11 grooves each. This coin was demonetized February the 28th, 2002. Now, as I love to do here, let's cover some brief history on who Alexander the Great was. Now, Alexander III of Macedon, commonly known as Alexander the Great, was the king of the ancient Greek kingdom of Macedon. He was a member of the Argead dynasty. He was born in Pella, a city in ancient Greece, in 356 BC. He was the son of the king of Macedon, Philip II, and King Philip's fourth wife, Olympias, daughter of Neoptolemus I, king of Epirus. Now, a lot of these words are really long words. Some are hard to pronounce, but I'll do my best. Now, although Philip had 7 or 8 wives, Olympias was his principal wife for some time, likely because she gave birth to Alexander. According to ancient Greek biographer Plutarch, on the eve of consummation of her marriage to Philip, Olympias dreamed that her womb was struck by a thunderbolt that caused a flame to spread far and wide before dying away. Sometime after her wedding, Philip is said to have seen himself in a dream, securing his wife's wound with a seal engraved with a lion's image. Quite interesting. At the age of 16, Alexander completed his education under Aristotle. He drove away a revolt against Macedonia, in which the territory was colonized, and a city named Alexandropolis was founded. In summer 336 BC, while an Age attending a wedding of his daughter, Cleopatra, the Olympus's brother, Alexander I of Epirus, Philip was assassinated by the captain of the bodyguards, Pausanias. As Pausanias tried to escape, he tripped over a vine and was killed by his pursuers, including 2 of Alexander's companions. Alexander was proclaimed king on the spot by the nobles and army at the age of 20. At the age of 20, he succeeded his father, King Philip II, to the throne. He spent most of his ruling years conducting a lengthy military campaign throughout Western Asia and northwestern Africa. By the age of 30, he had created one of the largest empires in history, stretching from Greece to northwestern India. He was undefeated in battle and is widely considered to be one of history's greatest and most successful military commanders of all time. Alexander began his reign by eliminating potential rivals to the throne. He had his cousin, the former Amyntas, executed. He also had two Macedonian princes from the reign of Lyncestis killed. He spared a third, Alexander Lyncestis. Olympias had Cleopatra, Eurydice, and Europia, her daughter by Philip, burned alive. When Alexander learned about this, he was furious. Alexander also ordered the murder of Attalus, who was in command of the advance guard in the army of Asia Minor and Cleopatra's uncle. In early 10th or 11th June 323 BC, Alexander died in the palace in Babylon at the age of 32. There have been many ideas on his death. Plutarch's account is that roughly 14 days after his death, Alexander entertained Admiral Nearchus and spent the night and the next day drinking with Medius of Larissa. He stated Alexander developed a fever which worsened until he was unable to speak. Then the common soldiers, anxious about his health, were granted the right to file past him as he silently waved at them. Yet on the second account, Diodorus recounts that Alexander was struck with pain after downing a large bowl of unmixed wine in honor of Heracles, followed by 11 days of weakness. He did not develop a fever, instead dying after some agony. Arrian also mentioned this as an alternative, but Plutarch specifically denied this claim. Yet in common, Diodorus, Plutarch, Arrian, and Justin all mention the theory that Alexander was poisoned. The strongest argument against the poison theory is the fact that 12 days passed between the start of his illness and his death. Such long-acting poisons were probably not available at that time. Another poisoning explanation, put forward in 2010, proposed that the circumstances of his death were compatible with poisoning of the water by the river Styx, modern day now called Mavenary in Arcadia, Greece. It contained a dangerous compound produced by bacteria. I guess the true facts will never be known on the true cause of Alexander's illness that took his life that day. It is stated that in 2021, Egyptian officials claimed that they had found Alexander the Great's tomb in Siwa Oasis, an urban area near Libyan border with Egypt, yet his bones were not there. Alexander the Great, at his age, he was 33 years old the day he died. So that's quite interesting, because he was born 356 BC and died at 323 BC. It kind of confuses me with the numbers going backwards at that time, but I figured it out. I hope you enjoyed. This coin you're looking at now is British 2 shillings from 1964, or 1 florin. This coin is a standard circulation coin made between the years of 1954 to 1970. Its composition is copper nickel. It has a weight of 11.31 grams, a diameter of 28.5 millimeters, a thickness of 2.5 millimeters, and is round in shape. This coin was demonetized June the 30th, 1993. Now, on the obverse, here, we'll show you the obverse. Now, on the obverse is a young laureate bust of H.M., Queen Elizabeth II, to the right with the legend around and the lettering that translates to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen. On the reversed shows central tutorial rose surrounded by thistles. Now, it's surrounded by thistles, shamrocks, leeks, with the legend above, the denomination, and the date below. The lettering translates to Defender of the Faith. The edges of this coin are reeded. Its mintage is 16,539,000. Now, a bit of history on this coin. Now, some people from different places don't know much about coins with Queen Elizabeth. Now, Queen Elizabeth II, or her birth name, Elizabeth Alexandria Mary, was born April 21st, 1926. She is the Queen of the United Kingdom and 14 other Commonwealth realms. Elizabeth was born in Mayfair, London, as the first child of the Duke and Duchess of York, later, which was King George VI and Queen Elizabeth. Her father ascended the throne in 1936 upon the abdication of his brother, King Edward VII, making Elizabeth the heir presumptive. She was educated privately at home and began to undertake public duties during the Second World War, serving in the Auxiliary Territorial Service. In November 1947, she married Philip Mountbatten, a former Prince of Greece and Denmark, with whom she had 4 children. When her father died, February 1952, Elizabeth, then 25 years old, became Queen Regent of 7 independent Commonwealth countries: the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Pakistan, and Ceylon, as well as head of the Commonwealth. In April 2021, after 73 years of marriage, her husband, Prince Philip, died at the age of 99. Elizabeth is the longest-lived, longest-reigning British monarch, the longest-serving female head of state in history, the oldest living and longest-reigning current monarch, and the oldest and longest-serving incumbent head of state. As of April 21st, 2022, Elizabeth Alexandria Mary, or as we all know, Queen Elizabeth II, will be 96 years young. To describe the beautiful reverse of this coin, a central Tudor rose surrounded by thistles, shamrocks, and leeks. Whilst Wales leek is not a royal heraldic symbol, this popular emblem has been a symbol of Wales for centuries. There are many legends about this symbol of the Welsh. One of the most famous is that before a battle of the Saxons, Wales' patron, Saint David, told the army to wear a leek to mark them apart from the enemy. In his play, Henry V, Shakespeare's character of Llewellyn draws on the idea of the Welsh wearing leeks into battle. The Scottish thistle has a similarly legendary backstory. According to legend, an invading Norse army was attempting to sneak up at night upon a Scottish army's encampment. During this operation, one barefoot Norseman had the misfortune to step upon a thistle, causing him to cry out, thus alerting scouts to the presence of the Norse invaders. Some sources suggest the specific occasion was the 1263 Battle of the Largs, which marked the beginning of the departure of King Hakon IV, or Hakon the Elder, of Norway, who, having control of the northern isles of Hebrides, had harried the coast of the Kingdom of Scotland for some years. The word shamrock comes from the Irish word seamrog. It is said that St. Patrick used the 3 leaves of the clover to represent the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. These plants are intertwined with national identity, often closely related to patron saints, and defining battles in history. The English Tudor rose was adopted after the War of the Roses as an emblem of peace. The Tudor rose was adapted by King Henry VII in 1485 at the end of the War of the Roses. It's a combination of the Royal House of Lancaster, whose emblem was a red rose, and white rose from the Royal House of York. The rose is regarded as a symbol of hope, prosperity, and unity. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you. This coin I'm covering 20 Korun from Czech Republic 1998. On the obverse is a crowned Czech lion facing left to the date and mint mark below it, and the lettering translating to Czech Republic and the date and what it was made for. Now, when you flip the coin over on its reverse, you will see the denomination of the coin and Saint Wenceslas. Wenceslas I, Duke of Bohemia, circum 1907 to September 28th, 935. Monument on Wenceslas Square. Inscription from the monument, which is translated to Saint Wenceslas, do not let us and the future ones perish. You will find the edges of this coin to be smooth. With the 20 Korun, you will find 2 types of mint marks. B is from the Czech Mint, Czech Republic, 1993 to date. Castle, known as HM. I had this pronounced in my head, but now it's hard. Hamburgisch Munz, Germany, 801 to date. 2 main groups of the reverse dies are known. On the reverse dies, die 8 is a shallow outline of script. The lower line of ribbon behind the horse was forgotten to draw. Die B is a deep outline of script. The lower line of ribbon behind the horse is shown clearly. which are things to look for if you're into collecting coins or just plainly love research. The issue of this coin is Czech Republic. It is from the period Republic from 1993 to date. It is a standard circulation coin issued for the years of 1993 to 2021. The value of 20 Korun is equivalent to $1.17 Canadian currency. The currency of this coin is actually Koruna from 1993 to date. Its composition is brass-plated steel. It weighs 8.49 grams. It has a diameter of 26 millimeters thickness and of 2.55 millimeters. Diameter of 26 and a thickness of 2.55 millimeters, sorry. And its shape is tricagonal, which is 13-sided. I don't think I learned that one in school. This coin has a mintage of 15,725,000. Now, which brings us into a bit of history. In 1247, Premysl Ottokar II, as a Margrave of Moravia, adopted the emblem of the double-tailed lion. Both symbols, the eagle and the lion, were used in the country simultaneously during the first half of the 13th century. The ruling monarch used the flamey St. Wenceslas eagle as a symbol of the country, while the double-tailed lion represented the emblem of the dynasty, expressing the relation to the large Premslid family. During the times of the 30 Years' War, there appeared flags on long poles, as we see today. Typical flags for infantry of the Habsburg army were of the three-side shape with the flamey edging. Until 1743, there was no rule or regulation specifying the particular design. Troops recruited or paid in the country used red military flags with the double-tailed lion. During the reign of Maria Theresa, 1743 to 1745, when the ever more powerful Prussia strived to push the Habsburgs out of the influence under the European events, new flags and standards were introduced, bearing shields with emblems of the country. During the wars against the French Revolution and against Napoleon, the volunteers of the legions of the Czech kingdom swore on their own white and red flags. From the 18th century, the shield with the crowned Czech lion was overtopped by St. Wenceslas's crown. This meant the unification for all countries of the Czech crown. Which brings us to the question, who is St. Wenceslas? St. Wenceslas I, or Vaclav the Good, was the Duke of Bohemia from 921 until his death in 935. His younger brother, Boleslas the Cruel, was commonly considered the perpetrator of Wenceslas's assassination by the Czech Republic and the Roman Catholic Church. However, there is debate whether his death was an accident or a murder. According to some historians, it was a result of a quarrel between two brothers, or their parties, most likely after a night of drinking. Boleslas's men then killed Wenceslas during a chaotic fight. His martyred death and his popularity at the time resulted in his elevation of sainthood. After his death, he was declared to be a king and came to be seen as a patron saint of the Czech state. He is the subject of the well-known Good King Wenceslas, a carol for St. Stephen's Day. Now, Wenceslas was the son of Veratislaus I, Duke of Bohemia, from the Premslid dynasty. His grandfather, Boriva I of Bohemia, was converted to Christianity by Cyril and Methodius. His mother, Drachma was the daughter of a pagan tribal chief of Haveli, but was baptized at the time of her marriage. Now, his parental grandmother, Ludmila of Bohemia, saw it that he was educated in the old Slavonic way, such as language in the early ages. Wenceslas was sent to the College of Bodak. Now, in 921, when Wenceslas was about 13, his father died and his grandmother became regent. Jealous of the influence that Ludmila wielded over Wenceslas, Drachma arranged to have her killed. Ludmila was at Teschen Castle when assassins murdered her on September the 15th of 921. She is said to have been strangled by them with her veil. She was at first buried at the Church of St. Michael in Tunisian, but her remains were later removed, possibly by Wenceslas, to the Church of St. George in Prague, which had been built by his father. Drachma then assumed the role of regent and immediately initiated measures against Christians. When Wenceslas was 18, those Christian nobles who remained repelled against Drachma, the uprising was successful, and Drachma was sent into exile to Budak. With the support of the nobles, Wenceslas took control over the government. He reigned in the dependent dukes who had become restive under the regency and used Christianity to strengthen his state. In September 935, a group of noble allied with Wenceslas's younger brother, Boleslav, and plotted to kill him. After Boleslav invited Wenceslas to a celebration of a feast of Saint Comas and Damian and Staroboleslav, 3 of the Boleslav's companions fell on the Duke and stabbed him to death. As the Duke fell, Boleslav then ran him through with a lance. According to Cosmos of Prague, in his Chronica, Bomarium, I'm not that great at pronouncing different languages, of the early 12th century, one of Boleslav's sons was born on the day of Wenceslas's death. Because of the ominous circumstances of his birth, the infant was named Strakvas, which means a dreadful feast. Wenceslas was then considered a martyr and saint immediately after his death.